I'm standing here with somebody that you might not recognize if you were to see him in person, but if you were to hear his voice, it might sound like this, and then you could tell who it was.
If you missed something, call the WNEW-FM Concert Happenings hotline at 212-697-7997. How's that?
That's perfect. Welcome to the Underground Cafe, Mr. Jim Monahan. It's a pleasure to have you.
This is great. This is a nice place you got here.
It's just a little something we dug out, threw a few posters on the wall, threw a few hundred people in the theater watching the show. Tell me, how did you get started in radio?
I started back in high school. I was too small to play football. And sophomore year, I ended up doing what they call stringer work for a local radio station. And they would tape record the phone calls of what happened in my high school's game. And they put them on the air. And my mother got into this thing. My son, he's on the radio. I thought this was great. So when I went to college, I kept it up. I did it for 3 years of high school. And when I went to college at Fordham in the Bronx, I kept it up there. In fact, the first thing I did when I got to my dorm room in freshman year was call a campus radio station and say, how do I get up to be on the radio station? And kept it up through there. I was in college for about 4.5 years and then continued after.
How long have you been on the air on WNEW?
I started in January of '80, so it'll be 7 years this January.
If you could do anything you wanted ever on radio, what would be your ultimate radio fantasy?
Oh boy, probably baseball play-by-play. I'm a big baseball fanatic, a huge baseball fanatic. Did you see the thing that Glenn Fry did for NBC? He got to do a couple of innings of play-by-play with Vince Scully of a Dodger game. That, to me, is it. That's it.
The ultimate fan. So maybe we'll set something up like that on the Underground Cafe, and you'll do it for us, okay?
Hey, great idea. Let's do it.
Okay. Well, you have Jim Monahan here from WNEW-FM, and we're going to talk to him a little bit. Why don't you tell us something maybe about one of the people up at WNEW that nobody else knows anything about?
I had a great Scott Muni story. Everybody knows Scott Muni. I've been around for years. I invented radio. A lot of people think that when you put a long record on, like Layla, Stairway to Heaven, the disc jockey's in the bathroom, right? I mean, it's natural. You do it. You have to do it during a shift. Put the record on. I used to play Echoes by Pink Floyd, run up the street to a delicatessen and get a sandwich. Muni, when Scott Muni plays a long record, he's not in the bathroom. Scott Muni's down the hall. He got a battery-powered water gun from Rick Springfield with the battery on the pack. I turn away from the microphone, but the battery pack and the water supply is in the backpack, and there's a hose and the gun, and he runs down the hall between the AM station through the newsroom back to us, squirting salespeople in the offices, news people as they're typing. That's what Scott Muni does when there's a 6 or 7 minute record on.
And this is what he gets paid to do.
Yeah, he gets paid pretty well, too. That's the frightening thing about it.
Shall we talk to our bosses about a raise?
No, just get better water guns in the office.
We were talking a little bit before about some embarrassing things that may have happened. Why don't you tell us about an embarrassing situation that may have happened to you?
Every disc jockey has had something bad happen to them on the air. I used to have a nightmare that the station changed formats in the middle of of a shift that I was on, and I didn't know how to back announce Frank Sinatra records or whatever. But this actually happened to me. I was working at a radio station in Philadelphia, and it was the very first shift I had done there. Saturday morning, it's about 8 o'clock, the inside private number rings. And that generally means it's somebody from management. I pick up the phone, it's the program director. My heart's hi, Jeff, how are you? No, everything's going fine. Now, as I'm on the phone with him, I take the record,